Welcome. Thank you for joining us the February 9th meeting 2023 of the Natchitoches Parish School Board. Please silence all of your electronic devices, including your telephones. That's for everyone in the room, please. If you'd like to speak to an agenda item, we have a form in the back of the room which asks which agenda item that you'd like to speak to, and complete that form and pass it to the front. Mr. McTwire, can you do our pledge? Yes. Mr. Fredo, our prayer?
Yes.
Before we stand, Mr. Fredo, could you mention the poor folks over in Turkey that have gone through? There's casualties are over 20,000 now, and it's terrible. Please stand, please.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here tonight. We thank you for those in attendance. Lord, we ask that you just guide our decisions and our discussions tonight, dear Lord. We ask you bless everyone on their way home from this meeting. Dear Lord, we ask that you just bless those and touch those in Turkey and Syria that have been devastated by this tragedy, dear Lord. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Revels, can we have a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, my screen just froze up on me. Okay, there it is. Mr. Danzy?
Present.
Mr. McTwire?
Here.
Mr. Benefiel?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Present.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Present.
Ms. Palmer?
Here.
Ms. Phelps?
Here.
Ms. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Fredo?
Here.
Mr. Nicholson?
Here.
And Ms. Page?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. So nice to see all the board members here today. Before we move through the superintendent report and the rest of the agenda, we have a committee that's been formed dedicated to reviewing the policies that we have for the Natchitoches Parish School Board. And we're a little behind on them because of this inclement weather and some other things. We do have some complicated policies to go through, and we're going to bring in some help from Dr. Pope has offered to bring in someone to help us go through those policies like they did before. And so we'll get in touch with Dr. Pope and schedule those next meetings. Dr. Eloy?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have nothing else to add from the previous superintendent report, but we would like to honor some students today, and Mr. Himes has been leading an effort. As many of you know, we've every time we've been going to LSBA, we see this amazing artwork from school districts around the state, and we have not been a part of that. But due to his efforts and the efforts of these young people, we have some art to contribute at this next month's LSBA conference, and I'll leave the rest to Mr. Himes.
Well, hopefully we'll be short and sweet here. We are going to participate this year fully in the Louisiana State School Board Association Art Contest. We threw the net out to all art teachers, and we met with all art teachers, and just really found some amazing people is what we found. In addition to that, we had 30 submissions of students who submitted art to be judged, and out of those 30, we had judges select 3 of those art pieces out of 30. And those 3 students would represent the Natchitoches Parish School Board at the Louisiana State School Board Association. And then all work which was not submitted to the State School Board Association in Baton Rouge and Lake Charles, those pieces are out here on the wall if you want to look at those. Amazing, amazing work. And I must say that it really made me glad that I was not a judge, because as I watched the judge judge these pieces, they told, they asked me, can we phone a friend? I said, yeah, do what you got to do. And so anyway, they came up with those 3 selections, and those winners will be recognized at the 2023 annual convention in Lake Charles. Without further ado, those students are representing the K through 5 category is Gavina Campos. Gavina, come on. She's a second grader at LP Vaughn, and her art teacher is Miss Elena Hennigan. Miss Hennigan, you mind? And the name of her piece is Louisiana Beads and Bling. You want to share a little bit about that piece? Tell them what inspired you to do that piece.
I don't know.
We told her we're not going to push her, okay? Thank you. So she can go around and shake the school board members' hands, and
Congratulations.
we'll get a quick snapshot with the superintendent, and that's it. Can we get a shot real quick? Parents?
Billy, you want to get in the picture?
It'll be all right.
They won't be missing me.
All the people that need to be there are there.
Can we see your picture?
Yes, she's going to
Nice.
share that picture.
Baby.
As she go around, she's going to share that picture with you guys.
So good.
Awesome job.
The second grader beat out all of those fifth graders.
It's awesome.
Love it.
Congratulations once again, okay? Representing the category 6th grade through 8th grade is Miss Ruby Barnett, and she's a 6th grader at NSU Middle Lab, and her art instructor is Miss Annabelle Jones. Will y'all come up, please? Mom? And she's going to share with you what inspired her piece.
What inspired me was my backyard and my favorite movie, The Princess and the Frog, and just like living in Louisiana in general.
You can go around and shake their hands and show them your art while you shake their hands, okay? All this is kind of impromptu.
Literally just started back.
Amazing. Go around and shake their hands and show them your art. Congratulations. Okay, and then last but not least,
Let me see.
representing the 9 through 12 category,
So proud.
let me give her a little clearance there. I think I'm making it too short and sweet, Ms. Phelps.
It's really good.
Say that doesn't exist.
You didn't do that. Mama did that. Good to see you, Ruth. Good job, baby.
That is amazing. It's beautiful. Good job, sweetie.
Anyway,
Now, when y'all see these pieces of art in galleries in the future costing $135,000,
We saw it here first.
yeah, remember it was here first, okay? Okay, last but not least, category 9 through 12. The student name is Ms. Lila Lewis. She's a 9th grader at Agnes Central, and her art teacher is Ms. Erin Spear. The name of her piece is Louisiana Collage. Don't worry about it, I got you covered. Take a rest from art. Okay, if you can share a little bit. Okay, okay. Sorry. How about that? And if you can share your thoughts concerning your art.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, that's okay, it's impromptu.
I just kind of went into it with pen, like just straight onto the paper, and that was just kind of what came out of it. Like there was no rough draft or anything.
All right. In other words, she said, I live in Louisiana and this is what flows through my mind all the time.
Well, Mr. Hines, while she's walking through, thank you and all the students and all the people responsible for making this happen, because we do go every year, and we don't see Natchitoches Parish represented, and this is so great. This is wonderful.
Proud.
These students are amazing. They're amazing. And we'll ask the board just to keep in mind that the major thrust of this department is to make sure that we develop well-rounded students, okay?
Let's give them all another round of,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
thank you.
And that concludes my superintendent report.
It'll be great to see that we have some artwork displayed at LSB this year.
Well, hopefully it'll build.
Excited
Yes,
about
ma'am.
that.
We need to get a picture around those pieces of art when we're there. So.
Superintendent.
Before we move on, I needed to just address something with you right quick. I had gotten a concern from the alternative school, and if you can check and give us some clarification or update on it next month or prior to, in reference to the attendance over at the school. I was informed that we had some elementary age school kids there, and that they are supposed to be in virtual.
That should not be going on, but I'll look into it and get back to you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the concern was that having a full-time counselor assigned to that school. I think you said that.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm sorry. Yes, your question. So I reached out to Miss Ingram. She is, because of the needs of that school, she is the one assigned to it because of her experience.
Okay.
I've also asked her. I've also asked her that in the future, as we expand the Aware Grant, right now the Aware Grant covers 4 schools, but when we expand it next year, the MPTCC be the top of that to get, so they will receive an additional social worker.
Thank you so much, much needed.
And I apologize for not getting back to you sooner on
No
that.
problem, thank you.
Board members on line for us. We have another.
Yeah, Mr. President, because I gotta go home tonight. It is National Counselors Week,
Yes, I'm sorry.
and my wife wanted to make sure that I mention it so that all the counselors will be recognized. I did it, sweetheart.
National Council, yes, sir.
Reverend Harris, we're glad you won't be in the doghouse tonight.
You been in the doghouse over there like that?
Hate to see us hanging out.
Okay. Item 3, I'd like board members to consider the adoption of the agenda and the approval of the minutes from the January 12th meeting.
I'll offer.
Second.
We have an offer and a second. Offer by Reverend Harris and second by Ms. Phelps. Was it Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Informational reports. Mr. Lee, Ms. Hicks said she had a piece missing from her report. Is there anything that, anything need to add? Did she pass on something? She said she didn't have the numbers from January or something.
She had not received the numbers yet, and I don't think she updated it with those numbers.
Okay.
I can text her.
No, that's fine. We just didn't know, we wanted to recognize if she had had a chance to do that.
No, she had not.
We heard from Ms. Washington, and she's not tonight. Budget update.
Well, with the sales tax is what was submitted was not available last time. It was submitted the day after our meeting, and so I wanted to present that here.
Mr. Wascom, I received an email saying Louisiana is leading the nation in sales tax, or right around that. Is that
Haven't
correct?
heard, but it's been nice. And
What are you doing? to
Harbor
keep that
Freight
going?
just opened up today. That'll help as well. I'm always glad to see more retail in Natchitoches, so that way you don't have to go to Alexandria to buy your Harbor Freight. Basically, if you roll down to this report, let's see, it is, that's a cumulative one. This is it here. This report is, I think, second up from the bottom. This report, 9.69% increase just for the month. If you go back, cumulative since the beginning of July is a 6.59% increase. So 868,000 more than this same time last year. That's really good. This, though, I will say, is offset by some of the losses with MFP money. And so they almost pretty much neutral out. They're within a few $1,000s of so I'm really happy to have that. Otherwise, it'd be a little tough on the budget right now. So, yeah. Okay, any other questions about the sales tax report?
You say taking up with the MFP.
We've had some downturn in enrollment,
So,
and just,
you taking the money, if a school don't have enough kids to take care of their budget with the MFP,
know that
you coming out of the general fund with that? Say if it's in the-
MFP is put into general fund, but they lower it, like, it's based on the number of students times $5,712. So if you go down 100 students, that would be $500,000, $570,000.
Mr. Matar, I'd love to speak to that. Currently, me and Mr. Wascom are preparing the board a large document on the trends of the past 10 years, and that includes population, district-wide, and school-based. And within that, we're also going to basically discuss the price per student, or the cost per student, rather, district-wide and school-wide. So we're preparing that for y'all. We hope, because it's gotten pretty massive, that we're going to have that for y'all sometime in the spring, maybe as soon as March, but I'm thinking more April.
Right. But if you see what I mean, sales tax going up and MFP, they're pretty much, we don't have to go out and start slashing the expenses at this time, because the MFP is down by the same amount sales taxes are up, and they both feed into general fund, so it's all good at this point. Now, would I prefer MFP to be flat or going up and sales taxes going up? Oh, yes. I would really like that. So, okay.
Before you sit down, Mr. Wascom,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Eloy, and along with a couple of other board members, met in Goldana the other night, and with Mr. Fradu, Mr. Harris, myself, we talked a little bit about student and the loss of students within the parish. Mr. Mike Stewart was there with us, and he had a chance to talk about the wonderful industrial maintenance program and industrial education program we're trying to pull together to start in the fall of this year. But we want to schedule these meetings throughout the parish this spring. So I'd like to get with all the board members and find a good day that would work. And it'll be a town hall meeting, much like we had before. And we want to hear from the constituents all over the parish on what we can do to better support them. But by the same token, we also want to have a small State of the Union address on what MFP looks like and what it's gone down to. So, board members, I'll be calling on you.
Not just the outer parishes. We would like to have some inside the city.
Well, I mean, it'd be parish-wide. And
Right.
we will have meetings in the city too, yeah.
Right.
But, there's nothing on the books right now. The meeting in Goldana started off as something small, and, we just happened to add a few, and we'll be back at Goldana to do it again, but it'll be a little bit more organized. And I just wanted to, take a moment to mention that. Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes. Number 5, finance. A, discuss and consider performance pay for instructional staff. Dr. Eloy.
We need a motion, correct?
Yeah, we need to have a motion, on the table to discuss it or before we can move forward.
Okay. Second.
We've got an offer and a second, and we can enter into this, discussion on this line item.
I personally, on my part, I would like to see the principals on the highly effective come from $1,000 to $650, and effective from $750 to $550 to get closer to the teachers, so it's just above the teachers' rate.
So highly effective would be $650?
Yes, sir.
And then highly effective proficient?
Effective proficient would be $550
For principals,
for principals.
not changing anything with teachers.
Not changing anything with teachers. So therefore, so it makes it more in line with the teachers and so forth. I think that's a better method. That's my thoughts.
Having a former principal at the table, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think we need to be in line with other parishes that are doing similar measures. So I think it'd be worth looking at. I mean, if the principal pay scale and the teacher pay scale are closer in the other parishes as well, I'd be comfortable with that. But, do we know what other parishes are doing in that regard? I mean, I have heard that Sabine does incentive pay. Do we know where they're at?
Not sure.
I've heard those numbers were well north of what we're putting forward this year. Don't know that that's for a fact, but that's just something to think about.
I would imagine everyone doing performance pay who's been doing it for a longer period of time than what this is our first, like I've said, we're dipping our toe into the pool. I'm assuming that they have a more developed formula and they're probably paying more, which is where we want to get to. In this first round, I think what I believe philosophically is that the principals should be more, but to Mr. Benefield's point and Mr. Danzy's point, how much that is really at the discretion of the board and where y'all feel comfortable making that difference.
We ask a tremendous amount of our teachers, and we ask more and more every day. I've always been with the adage, we can run the buses and we can have lunch and we can have but nothing really matters except what happens in that classroom. And that's what we're judged on, and that's where the education rubber meets the road. And I think we need to keep these closely in line. We reward principals with other vehicles such as tax checks because of the different rate of pay. I think if we keep this in line and closer to what the teachers will receive, I think it's going to be a much better process.
I agree. I think this is a good start for where we're going, but I think we can build on it with more research, moving forward for next year.
Okay. Mr. McTwire, any other discussion on this item? Mr. McTwire, your motion is for what we have on this paperwork in front of us.
Now what,
Would you be willing to amend it to what Mr. Danzy has stated?
if I can amend my motion and do what, Mr. Danzy.
Okay.
With that,
So you want to amend the salary schedule performance pay to highly effective principal pay to $650 and effective proficient $550, and the teachers remaining the same. Is that correct?
that's fine.
And that's for this year,
That's
correct?
this year.
And I second that.
And we look at it again next year to
Yes, ma'am.
increase.
This summer we'll be
Based
looking
on
at.
more research.
Well, this summer, it'll completely change. We're going to take the subjectivity out of it. It's going to be much more objective. And our other hope is that we will be able to add to the budget for this as well.
Fair enough.
Okay, Ms. Kanika, have you caught up with us? Okay. It's good discussion, board members. This is what we need to do to improve.
And as Ms. Kanika's doing that, as we've said in the past, we don't give specific dates for releasing these funds because sometimes with new programs, it's difficult to give an exact date, but we do believe this will be late spring is what we're shooting for this.
Middle of summer.
Yeah.
Cause our phone, if we don't get it in late spring, our phone gonna be ringing.
Just say when you least expect it, that's when you'll
What
get
is
it.
late spring? Is that early June?
Late spring goes all the way to
Early
May.
August, yeah. When you tell them they gonna get some money, if they don't get it,
Yes,
It's
sir.
already
I
on
know
their,
y'all don't get it, but they be, that phone coming off the,
already on the calendar.
phone coming off the hook, FaceTiming my son thinking it's me. Cause I don't have no.
Roll call vote, Ms. Kanika.
Mr. Danzy,
Yes.
Mr. Matwire,
Yes.
Mr. Benefield,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey,
Yes.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Phelps,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Fredo,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
and Ms. Page.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, ma'am.
B, I have to get used to this. B, consider approving renewal of third-party cooperative arrangement, TPCA, between Natchitoches Parish School Board and LRS.
I'll offer.
Second.
We have an offer and a second on this item. We've discussed it in committee last Thursday. Are there any further discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Thank you.
Item C, discuss and consider approving out-of-state travel for NIET conference.
I move that we approve out-of-state travel for the employees.
Second.
May I speak to this real quick? Since the last Thursday meeting, as you recall, we were on the wait list. Originally, the conference told us that they were going to expand significantly. I'm not sure why, but they have now come back and said that they will not be expanding significantly. So those 39 is now down to 2.
Wow.
Yes, and I would like to tell you, we are excited for the 2 who will be going.
But could it change between
Take
now and then
pictures.
if someone else drops out?
No, ma'am. We've talked to the executive director, and I think it was with their venue was the issue. But the 2 going that we were able to choose, Miss Brooke Williams, we chose her because she was principal of the year in her work at Fairview, and then Miss Armetrius Williams because of her work that we believe is going to move Weaver from an F to a D this year. So for those 2 reasons, they will be going. They've already accepted. They know they're very excited. But it is amended from 39 to 2.
Is there any other training they'll be able to take advantage of?
Yes, ma'am. So what this will do is, so most of this was being paid out of Title II, which is specifically for high-quality professional development. And so we can shift that to other conferences. Specifically, the one that probably a lot of folks will be using this for is Teacher Leader, which will happen, I think, that first week of June or the last week of May. So, yeah, and that conference has gotten much better over the years under Dr. Brumley's leadership. It's not what it was 5 years ago. So.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Thank you.
Okay, item D, discuss and consider Marco LLC ITEP application. Mr. Wascom.
I'd like to make a motion to stay to give them 80% of what they're asking, just give them 50%.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on this item, the Marco application. Discussion?
Why the decrease?
Decrease because the regular taxpayer people have always paying their tax. Marco, the guy got up and say how much money they made last year with all that. We used to have a whole lot more Natchitoches employees that what we was reaping the benefits from them employees in Natchitoches. It's not their fault that they can't hire Natchitoches employees, but still, we're not getting all the tax dollars that we should be, and we need the tax dollars to educate our kids in the lower grade. If we can't educate them in the lower grade, we'll never get them up to go to work at Marco or any other plant.
Who is the 80-20 set by? Was that Marco or the state had something to do with that?
State sets 80-20.
State sets the 80-20 rule. It used to be 100. John Bell moved it down to 80-20. From that, and to respond, I mean, all sales tax or property tax from Royal Martin does go, to the parish here. Our, reason for expanding, really any industry out there's reason for expanding, is from help from these tax exemptions that last 5 years with a 5-year renewal. So, we do ask for that in assistance to continue to grow and to create more jobs. We're working hard to bring people from Natchitoches. Cooperation from this board wants us to do that. That's why I'm here, getting more involved with the chamber, being on NEDA, which is the Natchitoches Economic Development Board. I'm taking, ownership in that as well, showing that, Royal Martin wants to be a presence in Natchitoches Parish. And voting yes for this, shows that we have support of the board for that, for 80% exemption. So, as we continue to work and grow our business with Natchitoches Parish and Natchitoches Parish's people, look, we talked about the Woodworks program. We came to Natchitoches Parish and sat down this year saying, we have to have an involvement in the school systems to make this work. We've had the biggest enrollment that we've had probably ever. And we're excited about it, of that. And like I said, and I was actually wrong when we talked, last Thursday?
Last Thursday, yeah.
There are 2 students from the Woodworks program that we did hire at Royal Martin that are still there. With an enrollment like we had this year, which was 45 or 43 at Natchitoches Central and 25 at Lakeview, we will hire more and more and more and continue to work with the school board to get that. But we asked that the school board work with us too, to help us ease the pain of investing money in our facility.
And board, just to give some more context to what you're saying, Royal Martin himself met with us at Natchitoches Central, and he has told me personally, and he said it to both principals there, that they are willing to take as many graduates from Woodworks as possible. So I will say this, and it does seem that they are very adamant about trying to get more Natchitoches people at the plant. So
Case studies with the college, we bring their students in, many times a year they would like to come in. We do internships with the college. It is important, as we were just talking back there, as we grow with this parish. You mentioned enrollment's down. We've got to continue to build our area. And it's a concern there with that. So, I don't know if there's any questions about that. I did not bring the percentage of Natchitoches Parish people that are employed there, but there's quite a number of people from Natchitoches Parish employed at Royal Martin.
Mr. Wascom, I have a question. Like, is there a dollar sign amount of like how much the school board misses out with that?
over the process of 10 years, isn't that the correct amount?
Yeah, about 10 years.
Over the process of 10 years?
No, it's $16,000. I think it's around $16,000 per year. It would be the amount. The 80% would give $3,000 or a little over $3,000 a year for that 5 years. Then it would be voted on for being a renewal. Then after that, the parish recognizes that amount from then on. That's kind of like the expansion that this board stood behind us in 2006. We did. It was a $120 million expansion. Guess what? In 2016, all those exemptions went away. You get the full benefit of that. But because of the exemption you did it helped us allow to expand then. We added, probably 35% more jobs at that facility. We've went from, right at 350 employees to 750 employees, and it's because of the support. If this board doesn't support Royal Martin in doing that, Royal Martin wanting to continue to grow that organization in this parish, what reason do they have when another parish would likely support them? So as a board, we need to be behind Royal Martin to continue to say, we're going to be there to help them grow in Natchitoches Parish and offer more jobs. There's a lot of things coming, as I said. We're investing money into Louisiana Tech. There will be different wood products industries come to this area because it's so plentiful. It's already happening. Like I said, Columbia, Louisiana got one from it. So
Mr. Wascom, how much?
I don't have the exact amount, but it's 16,000. It's around 16,000 per year is what the school board. The school board's. If you take the general, the general school and the special school millage, is that the two the school board gets? If you take them, I believe it'll be 16,000 a year that would be allotted to this because it's 15% of the total project. Is the appraisal for the total project, and then you're going to take the total millage. I don't have the math in front of me.
Well, and
I'm sure it's 16,000 per year.
One of the things too is when contractors come in, I know this for a fact because I deal with it all the time. When contractors come in, they do spend money here while they're working on the plant, and he's not even touched the base.
You're exactly right. We
So,
promote them to stay here.
that does happen, and you think it's not much, but they're staying here, they're eating, they're spending their money, some of their money here. Now, I'm just saying that's facts. That's what happened.
So there's customers coming in to see the historic
Right.
area. So I'm not really sure where the, I guess, $892,000 came from.
Well, I think it's over the total accumulation of the 10 years. It'd probably be 1/10 of that per year.
That doesn't mean that total amount would have been allotted to us. That's not what we would,
That's the assessed value.
right,
Yeah, that's with all of the different.
right.
That's
So that's not what we're missing out on,
no.
right?
That's not correct there.
Yeah.
See the annual exemption there of the $111,000? That's the total, so you got your investment, your 15% is gonna be your assessment amount, your millage of that. So the total exemption without the 80% would be $111,000, is that correct? Because that's how much the entire parish would get.
That's right.
So not
correct.
just
Right,
for the school.
which is
Right.
the parish government, the city,
That's right.
as well as school.
That's right. Now, from the school board standing by is what I thought was being asked, was for what we're talking about here, the school board side of that, it's $16,000 per year. Is, what the
And how many
total
years?
amount would be.
10 years?
You're only gonna get, it's 5 years up for, after
Right,
5 years, you'll vote.
and then you vote again.
You would get 13, or the exemption would exempt, 13,000 of that, so you would get 3,000 and some change in the balance.
May I add a very important number to this, Ms. Palmer? Over the estimated 20-year lifetime of the investment, so the $9.5 million goes into equipment. And so that is gonna have property taxes on it for 20 years. So we're abating 5 years of it and then maybe another 5. But the taxes are gonna be paid out over the course of 20 years. Over the 20-year lifetime of that $9.5 million investment, the company will pay an estimated $960,000 just in property taxes, even with the abatement across the whole parish. So I want y'all to make sure that you don't hear what we're giving up, but what we're gaining because they're investing this money in our parish. So that's an important number, $960,000
And we paid
in
$1.8
taxes.
million in property taxes last year alone.
Yeah.
Every year that's going up because the exemptions are coming off. The same one that we had, in 2014 goes out in 2024. We will get another exemption will come off and you'll get 100% of that investment into that property. Every time we invest in that asset there in Chopin, the value of it goes up. Ultimately, the property tax coming off of it goes up with it. The parish gets more money. If Royal Martin stops investing in that, then it quits going up.
It's got a limited life.
Board,
You know, the only thing with me, all industries come in here, first thing they holler that we don't have educated enough people to go to work. But then they come in and want these big tax breaks when we can't hire the teachers and stuff that we want to teach the elementary kids to get up there. Just like what you were saying, everything you talking about is high school and college. Well, if that kindergarten don't get his education, he'll never see high school or college. So that's why I want the money for us to be able to start down in pre-K or whatever and teach these kids where they can even go higher then with that. We keep asking for money, discount at every industry coming in here. That's what first thing they'll say, Louisiana don't have educated kids, but they want big tax break, but then they holler they don't have educated kids. That's why I don't believe in giving no breaks at all.
That's a fair point. I think that this $960,000 just on this piece of investment that is gonna go into the school system and can help pay those teachers is why it's important to support this industry. So that together we can, that's part of it. If they're investing, your bottom line is going up. You're going to be able to pay more teachers. I mean, this is all part of your
I'd
budget.
like to speak from a very pragmatic standpoint because, Mr. Bertoir, when I came into this job, I'll be honest with you, philosophically, I was very much on your side with this, but one thing I've learned, whether we like it or not, and I'm not saying Royal Martin has ever threatened or said this, but these industries do look for the most advantageous spot to be. And that's just the nature of the beast. And although philosophically I agree with you because I pay my property taxes, If we do not incentivize these industries coming, we will lose these industries. And the piece that scares me at the middle of the night is if we in Natchitoches Parish lost any one of these big players in town. I can't think of a more devastating thing to Natchitoches Parish schools than that. And again, they've never threatened that, and they've never even implied that, but I just know the nature of these things and how they happen and what businesses are looking for when they find a location.
Let me ask you this. The woodwork program that you all are vested in right now at Lakeview and at Natchitoches Central, what type of investment are you all making in that you know of right now?
I don't know that, from a monetary amount to give you that. Now, we invest time. We have mentors at our facility that come.
That's what I'm talking about,
Our
time
we
and
give classes. We,
talent.
we have mentors for each group out of our facility and our management team. We bring them to the facility. We do tours. We donate, I don't know how much product a year to the schools to do woodworking and cutting and being involved in that, safety material, anything that can help position that student to be successful, even if it's not at Royal Martin, and into an industry in our area and stay in our area. And this isn't for the ones that are going to go to the university, of course. It's for those kids that are going to get out and hopefully stay in our area and get a good paying job and can prosper in our area with that. But I don't know money-wise, but we invest a whole lot of time. We have a program at Royal Martin just dedicated to woodworks, and it's throughout schools all over, trying to grow them and be involved with them. We have Together Tuesdays. I don't know if you've heard about that. We go to schools, and just meet and greet, hand things out. Trying to get Royal Martin's name out there to kids in our community so they'll know us when they get out of school. So with that, and to the point about the exemptions, I don't know this for a fact. I was reading an article about, I think Buc-ee's. Y'all saw that it's coming to Ruston, Louisiana. But you read and see why Buc-ee's went to Ruston, Louisiana.
I already know.
Offered them a tremendous, it was crazy of what they offered to get them there. But you're right. We're challenged with bringing industry to this area, our development board, the Natchitoches Economic Development Alliance. Right? Having this in our hip pocket saying, hey, the parish is going to support you when you come here. That's what's going to get our schools in better shape. It's bringing industry to this area, and Royal Martin's dedicated to, we're dedicated to Natchitoches Parish. I'm dedicated to Natchitoches Parish and growing this area because that's what's going to secure us. We just need the board to be behind us and support us on continuing to grow, and things like this do that. We don't want to go up or give the Martin family a reason not to want to do that here, right?
Well, real quick, it's not so much the Martin family. I would like the board to realize that everyone sitting around this table, you have neighbors or relatives who work for Marco. You may not know that, but you do. You do invest in Natchitoches employees. And to me, this is supporting the people who already work there that want to make their plant a better place and a more efficient way to work. Second thing I would like to say, the figure $16,000, is that correct? That's how much we would potentially miss a year?
Yeah.
Estimate? Okay, so, no, you don't have to do that. I do just want to remind the board that we voted ourselves a raise that cost this district $19,000 a year. That was $19,000 a year we took away from educating children. This is an investment in the community.
Reverend Harris, too, in response to your question of them, what do they invest back? I can just say as a former employee of the parish for many years, and I can't speak specifically to Roy Martin, but all of these plants, as a coach, as a teacher, any projects that we ever needed done at the schools, if we went to them and asked, they said yes, every time, to the tune of probably much more than $16,000 a year.
And
Well,
the
there's-
reason is, we've, I've sat with many of them, and I want to make sure that's what happens. Because when we go and we need things, I expect us to be able to get those things. But now, somebody, Ms. Phelps talked about the board giving themselves a raise and all that different things. Listen, this has to deal with whether we're going to give you all an opportunity to continue to do what I believe you all are attempting to do. and that we need to be able to dialogue to make sure that we continue to let you all know what we're expecting, and you all are telling us what you all are expecting from us. That's what it's about. I don't need to be threatened. I don't need to be lectured to and things like that. I understand.
Yes, sir.
I understand the assignment.
Well, and Mr. Harris, you know, last week, you said, you know, it's our responsibility to get people, you know, to go back and talk to our group about that, going, hey, we had the support of the board. They understand we need more people from Natchitoches, and they're committed to helping us. From job fairs, going here, going to the college when they have career fairs, those type of things. That was exciting for us. For you to hear you say that made us, you know, hey, they understand we've got to get people from Natchitoches involved, because that's how we're going to grow. There's no way. We can't keep growing out there if we don't get more people from Natchitoches coming there to work. We do know that, so.
Let's talk about in-kind contribution with Woodworks. Can you put a dollar figure on that? Because I know you have safety people involved, you got your HR people involved, you got your production people involved, you got your management people involved, you got your maintenance people involved, and all of that doesn't happen free. Ray Peters and I started a program very much like Woodworks 20-something years ago, and I know what it took to get it up off the ground. And he's morphed that, or y'all morphed that into Woodworks, and it was essentially the same type thing. And I know what it took to get this thing going. And so, can you put a dollar figure on what y'all
Well,
do?
it's much more than $16,000, but to shoot from the hip, I would hate to do that with it. We actually have another program for the maintenance, the IMT, is it, program that we do as well that brings young kids in and teaches them to be millwrights from an industrial standpoint. That comes, they're from Natchitoches, and we're growing them, we develop them, they go to school at university. But to answer your question, I'd hate to throw a number out there. Our management team does come spend time in the schools to help grow this, and we have an HR department, a person in our HR department that's solely over that, but,
And I'm looking for more with that IT program. I'm good.
And the dedication with that does not come without cost, because when we pull those people away from their job, they're doing something.
absolutely, absolutely.
You mentioned on last week, I'm sorry.
I got something I want to add to this. If we the people, the Natchitoches Parish School Board, expect our newly birthed industrial manufacturing course to be supported and be successful, we cannot and will not turn our backs on our industrial manufacturing partners. They will make the difference with their contributions to our program. And I personally, and Ms. Pinckney, Dr. Eloy, we're gonna need a lot of help out of Royal Martin. That's right. That's a fact. So vote your conscience, but just be leery about what the end results may look like.
Thank you. I was gonna ask, in regards to the expansion, approximately how many more people, and would that include robotics or just more warm bodies?
There will be no new jobs added for this.
No new jobs,
This
it's
is more
expansion.
so to retain jobs. There will be no
Retain.
jobs lost for it. What we're trying to do is keep our product line that currently they're competitive. We're competing offshore with people that actually have this new equipment, and we're getting to where we're not cost competitive anymore. So doing this secures it, but it also allows that person to gain a new skill, which will be a high level skill, and ultimately gain a higher wage because of it. The wages will go up in that area because of this new skill being put into that developmental package.
And we would like to know what that curriculum looked like, you know?
Well, it is, we have what we call paper knowledge and skill there at the mill. And it allows an employee to learn every single job in that area, which is why our wages are higher than most, because most places pay, you come in and learn this job and you get that wage and move up ever so often. Not at Royal Martin. You can run all of them and be up to the $26 an hour or more and do it. And that's one of the reasons we were so successful during the pandemic. We had so many people that knew how to do everything that, when this person didn't show up, we could move this person over there to do it because of being sick or the things there. So it really, really worked out for us, but it also benefits our people. It gives every person in that facility a sight line to a higher wage. You know, versus being stuck in one job until somebody quits or goes on to go to that next higher one. Every single person can learn that higher wage area and get the money from it, even if they're not doing it every day. So, it's one of the things we kind of pride ourselves on, to grow our people and to help us retain them, so.
Board members, any other discussion on this item?
You have to readdress the, you
No.
have to readdress.
Wait, no.
Well, we
All
have,
you got to do is he made an amendment. Vote up and down on that, and then you go back to your original. That's what happened.
well, right now, we're at 50%.
Right, and so you're gonna
Mr. McTwire, are
vote
you,
that up or down,
you adamant?
and then you're gonna go back to your 80%,
As presented.
as presented.
So
We have a motion for 50% of the,
Unless he changes.
unless he changes it, and so we have to deal with that motion.
With the state setting this, can we even offer a 50%?
Yes,
This is the ITP application as presented in Baton Rouge and as approved. It's either this
Or nothing?
at all.
Correct, yeah, you can't change it.
You cannot make adjustments. That's why I asked that question when it was first offered.
no.
It's either
That's,
this or nothing.
that's why I was asking, does he want
I
to
may.
amend his motion?
When we had this conversation with the parish council 2 or 3 years ago, they voted down the ITEP because no one was there that evening. And then they had a special called meeting to reverse the vote. And the State Board of Commerce and Industry does not recognize that they reversed the vote. It's done. The State Board of Commerce and Industry is who sets this, the rules, and it is 80-20 or nothing. You can't do a partial or we'll do some of this. It's 80-20 or nothing. And what that decision, however that decision goes tonight, goes to the State Board of Commerce and Industry, and it's done.
That's why I said, Mr. McTwire, are you willing
Well, I
to?
thought when we have these meetings down with the school board, that the school board can offer the percentage that they want. They don't have to take what do with that. Well, that's what they'll say, so.
Think the process,
That's what who said, Mr. McClure?
think the
When we
process
go to
may
these
have
school
changed.
board, these meetings, and, the same people that you're saying, they're saying a board have the opportunity to accept what, with that, or whatever percentage they want. But, and
Ms.
I would leave my motion on there, if y'all wanna vote it down and redo it, I would leave my.
Ms. Lyles,
motion.
was, I think, and I might be totally wrong about this, but I think it used to be that way, but when,
Process
it used to come straight
Long
to-
time
yeah,
ago.
It used to
Long
come
time
straight to us, but then, now it's to the state, then to
Well,
us.
it used to be that he'd come to the, school board. It
That's
used to be
right.
whatever
It used
police
to just
jury
be
did,
statewide.
That's what it was, but then they give the board, school board, the opportunity to set what they wanna give.
John Bell did change it from 100 to 80.
Right, he's changed it to 80%,
What the rules are.
but you,
I'm 100% sure that that's,
okay, if you 100% sure, I hope we 100% sure as well,
Because we have classes with that, and one of the ladies on this thing say that the board can accept, if they don't want to accept, just the 20%, they can do all, though accept none, or give the industry a percentage of what they want to collect the money. And that's what they have said, and it wasn't just one time in a meeting.
this particular exemption can only be 80-20. If there is something that you guys wanted to offer on top of that, you could make something for the school district. That's not been, in my experience, anything that y'all have looked into doing. I don't know if you want to get into that business or not, but the state system is 80-20.
And so I'd like to also clarify, y'all see the 111,000 right here? I finally figured out the numbers. This 111,000 is what they're asking from the entire parish, all governmental agencies. We are 16,000 of that number. The reason is you got the ambulance tax, you got the King River, you got the library taxes, you got the parish taxes, all that's in there. These are the parish-wide taxes. We are
Our seven mills plus our 4 point, and our 4.65.
You're asking for 80% of 16,000.
That's true.
You're asking- So you're asking for 80% of 16,000, so we're asking for 13,000, which will, the state, the sales, the property
Oh my
tax revenue
God.
will be $3,000.
This is
more
30
in the next 5
pages.
years. But after
I was gonna try to Google it.
You know, after that expires, it will be 16,000.
This is 30 pages.
So I do agree that I believe the 16 or 13,000 is the correct number. I will tell you financially, it is an insignificant amount of money in relationship to an $87 million budget.
Yeah, you don't have to. Okay,
I'll say that.
any other discussion, board members? Ms. Kanika, can we, have a roll call vote?
So are we on the 80-20?
No, sir.
No.
50%.
So the motion would be motion to approve Marco's LLC application, the
The
number.
motion was made at 50%.
But let me ask you, can we bring that motion back up?
I don't see why we cannot. Is there any reason why we cannot
What
bring it back up?
Ms. Laws is saying, though, if you vote for the 50%, and the 50% is not allowed by the state,
Yeah, if it's
Then
not allowed by the state.
then it will be nothing for Royal Martin, as it's recognized as a.
What I'm saying, if it's voted down, then what Mr. Danzy was saying, is it possible to bring the motion back, right back
Bring
up with
the original
80%?
motion. That's
Right.
what I thought it.
Because what we do is we report this to the state. They don't care about our Robert's Rules of Order. They just care about what the ultimate
The end
vote is.
result.
Correct, Ms. Laws?
I made this motion, but all y'all gotta do, somebody else amend my motion, that's all you gotta do. Amend my motion and accept what that, and then vote on it, that's all you have to do.
Danzy,
Or
do
go
But I
back
would stick
to
to, I would
the
stick to
80.
my
You can
my
amend what he
motion.
said, go
But
back to the
anybody can
80.
amend my motion and go back to the 80-20,
amend it?
and then y'all vote on the 80-20.
We'll vote on the amendment. Okay,
And then if the amended motion passed,
fine.
my motion, is no good.
There you go.
I'll amend the motion to 80%.
I
Second.
All right, so we have an amendment to Mr. McGuire's motion by Mr. Danzy and seconded by Ms. Phelps to go to 80%. We need to first vote on the amendment to change the motion. Roll call vote, Ms. Revels.
So before you do that,
Yeah.
so yes does what?
Yes is approval.
Yes,
80%.
Yes means you are approving the 80%.
Okay.
Good question.
That's really not Robert Rules of Order. I'm telling you that.
Mr.
What
Dancy,
part?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir, Mr. Benefield,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey,
No.
Ms. Palmer,
Yes.
Ms. Phelps,
Yes.
Ms. Harvey,
Yes.
Mr. Fredo,
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson,
Yes.
and Ms. Page.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, no, that was the amendment. Now we need to vote on the original.
That was the amendment.
We need to vote on the motion, which would be,
No, mine's died.
No, that's right.
we need
No,
to,
no,
we voted to amend his motion to 80%. Now we need to vote on that.
80%.
That's correct.
That's correct.
What was it? We voted.
Yeah, we gotta vote again.
Got to vote again.
Okay, real quick though, Ms. Kanika, are you following?
Give me just a second.
Because, I apologize, y'all, but we want to make sure she's on the same page as us because we do not want to get to.
That was on the amended.
That just
amendment.
changed the number.
That just changed the
Now,
number.
that didn't vote on the
Now we have
amendment.
to vote
That
on
didn't vote on the whole motion. It just
Now,
changed
what we voting on,
80-20.
80%.
Yeah, 80-20.
So you get a chance to vote again, no again.
So this
that's right. I'm not voting.
I'm not gonna over all y'all. I'm not gonna.
Ms. Kanika says so.
The motion that was just made and passed was to amend the motion.
amend the motion.
Which previously stated 50%.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
It's not done till the paperwork's done.
Next motion.
I move we accept the 80%.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Danzy, a second by Mr. Fredo to go to the original proposal.
Nicholson.
Mr. Nichols?
Nicholson.
Sorry. I thought I recognized his voice. Evidently, I'm not. To go to the original proposal of 80-20, as stated on your agenda. Any discussion?
God, please no.
Ms. Revels, if you have caught up with us,
I don't think she has yet.
I'm ready.
roll call.
You ready?
I'm ready. Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
No.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
No.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Fredo?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item E, discuss and consider requesting permission to put out for RFP services for on-campus banking at Lakeview and Natchez Central High School.
Do we have a motion on this item?
All motion.
Second.
So Mr. Nicholson made the motion.
No.
Mr. Fredo?
You need to quit leaning forward. I'm hearing your voice and seeing his face. Okay.
So, board, remember, this is just to put it on an RFP. It ties us to nothing.
Was it Mr. Fredo or Mr. Nicholson? I got.
Fredo.
Okay, I thought so. And then the second came from?
Me.
Mr. Danzy.
Okay.
Okay, I just have one question. And this is just an advertisement to put out, whatever. What's this end game gonna look like? We're gonna have someone on site 24 hours a day, I mean, or during school?
During school, well, actually, 9 to 5 would be the banking
There'll be
hours.
someone there.
That's how they have it, yes. That's how they have it. That's what we're mimicking what we see in Walker High, yeah.
We're not gonna have a drive-through.
No, there's no drive-through.
But we're not the one paying them, are we?
No, there actually would be, the hope is that we'll be getting actually a rent check every month. And
Now, are we going to allow people, the public, onto the school grounds to use that banking?
it'll be accessed externally. It won't be you don't come into the school to access the banking piece.
I'm just talking about security-wise, allowing people on campus without.
Yes.
Okay.
We can't allow people on campus to access that.
Can or
access that.
can't?
What's that?
Can or can't?
Yeah, they would be able to access, during 9 to 5, they would be able to access the banking.
What does it look like at Walker High School? Like a drawer, like a tiller
No,
window?
so what it is on the very outside of the building, and it's put into an area that doesn't, traffic-wise, it doesn't come onto, it comes onto campus, but it's the very exterior of the footprint of the building. And it's an area that, when you enter it, it is separated from the rest of the campus. You cannot go into the campus from there because there's a locked door between the two. It is staffed by not only a professional from the banking industry, but also students who are in the process of doing a, what's the word I'm looking for?
An internship.
Internship, thank you. Internship. And so what again, you put all the things in the RFP, but we would want to model exactly how Walker has done this, because they've done it in a way that's, I think, addressed all these concerns you're talking, safety, everything. We don't want to recreate the wheel, and we don't want to do anything too crazy. Now, this is outside the box, but we want to do it based on their experience. They've been doing this for the past 3 to 5 years, I believe.
Yeah, I love doing this. My only question is, say for Lakeview, for instance, I mean, they lock the gates at the highway when the last school employee leaves in the day, and that means you'd have to leave those gates open
I think
for general public to be able to roll through, and
To say,
they don't close the gates out.
They're allowed access to the
But I also think all of this, what y'all are talking about, can be put in the RFP, whether it's 9 to 3 or 9 to 5, or whether it's some other version of this.
It's just some concerns.
Yeah, I mean, you have a security guard
I
at
agree.
Natchez Central that's at that gate, and he would have to let public members come through all day to go to the ATM. I'm not
just
saying it could work,
saying,
it's just something to think about.
When there's
From a
another bank
customer
2 blocks
perspective,
up.
I'm not going to a bank at a high school. If I need
This
money,
would be
I'm,
for the kids.
yeah, I'm just saying normal people wouldn't.
Okay,
They go on campus.
And then the workers at the school could, access it, and things like that.
Yeah.
could we take anybody into a trip to Walker? I'm serious.
I would love to
It's
see it. They
worth-
say
it's
it's
I think
worth
it'd be
seeing.
fantastic.
Going up there next,
Huh?
I think it'd be fantastic.
No more than 5 of y'all, but my truck will
Driving by
travel.
there Friday.
I would love to show it to
Walker
y'all.
located.
Baton Rouge.
And I want y'all to ask that
Right,
bank
just
that's
down
there,
from Denham
why do they
Springs.
do it?
Well, which bank will,
In Walker, it's Neighbors Credit Union.
But the bank, on this, it would be an RFP. It's whoever.
RFP, it's all banks would be asked.
I mean, and to that point, Ms. Palmer, you may have no one.
Yeah,
might not
nobody
have any
may
interest.
want it.
It would die on the vine, yeah.
So we're not really doing it.
This is just an RFP process.
And even if the RFP comes in and someone has a great thing, we can still, I say we.
Still
y'all can
vote it down.
Vote it down at that point.
See, an RFP differs from a bid because I'm not asking for this specific thing or this specific drawn building to be built. I'm saying, we would like these basic things covered, but you can add more to it.
The bank executives in town may look at this and say, not no, but heck no.
But they, like one bank could say, we want to add a coffee shop to it. Not only do we want to do banking, but we want the coffee shop inside our lobby area. And I'm like going, that's a good idea. But that would save me from having to set one up otherwise. But I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could do to add to it. I can tell you, I've done RFPs up against Barnes & Noble, Follett, and Nebraska Book, and you have to get creative. If you just follow what Northwestern wanted as a bookstore, you were going to lose. You had to be creative and add some added value. And I tell you what, going up against Barnes & Noble's tough. And because they were basically, everything's going to be, ivory column posts and beautiful bookstores. But my thing is that I wanted the
Mr.
banks to be
Wascom, is there
creative.
anything else you'd like to insert in this conversation beside a coffee shop?
Well, I was actually not thinking, but anyhow. Yeah, we could, do all
The
kinds
banks are listening.
We could do clothing, we could do whatever. Anyhow, I'd like to, this is a start. This process may take several months, and we may reject it all in the end. We'll see.
Okay. Any further discussion? Ms. Revels, could you do a roll call vote on this item, please?
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
yes,
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Fredo?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
that concludes finance.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer. That was a most interesting report. Personnel report, we have an item from Mr. Cozad, which we discussed at length last Wednesday night. Do we have a motion?
I move.
We have a
Second.
motion from Ms. Phelps, a second from Ms. McGaskey to restructure the technology department and bring contractors in as permanent employees in Natchitoches Parish School Board. Any discussion on this item? Roll call vote, Ms. Revels.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes,
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Fredo?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Mr. Danzy.
Item 7A, discuss and consider 2023-2024 school calendar.
I move that we accept the option that had 68% of the vote.
Option B.
Option B.
B. Do we have a second?
second,
Palmer.
Motion?
It was not Chad.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion on this calendar B? Okay. Ms. Revels, roll call vote on option B, calendar.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matoir?
No.
Mr. Benefield?
No.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
What would I'm looking at start date for August. Would be the, the 9th? Okay. Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
yes,
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Fredo?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I feel like Miss Linda wants to vote. Every time you say Paige, she's like, yes.
Her head does go up. Whoop.
Item 7B, discuss and consider
Natchitoches Parish School Board entered into a contract with Franz Law Group, APLC, to take part in the national vaping litigation against Altria and other major vaping manufacturers, producers, distributors, and consultants.
I offer.
I'll second.
We have an offer by Mr. McGuire, second by Ms. Barbara Page. Any discussion on this item? I would like to see a roll call vote on this item also.
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Metoyer?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Fredo?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Item 7C, discuss a parish-wide needs assessment survey. Reverend Harris.
Well, Mr. Benefield really meandered all through what I was talking about concerning being able to allow each board member to get with their constituents, whether it be if there's a mayor in your district, community leaders and things, so that we can get out to them what we're trying to do. Because as I look at the numbers that have gone down and things, there's not but, I think about 3 schools that have gains. 4 schools, no 5. Fairview, NSU Lab, Middle School, Frankie Ray, they gain, and the Magnet School. All the rest of them have lost numbers. Not significant, great numbers on some of them, but this is a concern. As we say, MFP dollars. And we need to see, knowing that you have a good product, if you have a good product, why are people leaving our district? And if we don't ask the question, we're not going to get the answers. So we need to go to them. We can't wait for them to come to us, because if that was the fact, they would have been said, hey, look, this is why we're leaving. We had an interesting meeting on the other night, and one of the things we asked them, what magnet do you all need to bring people back? And one of the magnets that they talked about, I believe that we're going to see a whole lot of people running back to our district. So then it's up to us as a board to put money toward that area to make it happen. Now, if people just saying, well, I just want my child in a Christian environment, a Christian education. Now, I'm a big Christian as you can possibly be. But some of this stuff, God ain't nowhere in it. And the reason I say God ain't nowhere in it is because they rejected Jesus. The Christian people rejected Jesus, and the people who were heathens and things like that, they were attracted to Jesus. We're not supposed to be isolating ourselves. We're supposed to be trying to embrace those who need him the most. So I'm not condescending on anyone. I'm just simply saying, if we got people in our community that would like to have a Christian or whatever religion school, we can't do nothing about that. That's just, that's not a fight we want to engage in, But if it's about academics, if it's about giving you the best opportunity to succeed, that's why I got on this board. To give every child an opportunity to succeed. And for some reason, I believe our school is doing better, but I don't know if we are doing a good job of telling what better is.
I'm so glad you
Harris
said
is
that.
exactly right.
I'm glad you said that. because we have the capability, we have the marketing power, the manpower to get our message out, that we have an outstanding system. And I think by starting these discussions, that is the perfect time because school will be out before you know it and kids will be enrolling. But I'm excited about the whole initiative, and I really hope that we can have those honest conversations whenever we do have town hall meetings. But I would also really, really support a huge marketing campaign, whatever that looks like. And I'm not a fan of billboards, but I feel like for this reason I would be. And I know social media is wonderful, and I know that we can use it till the cows come home, but until we get our good message out there.
Yes, ma'am. No, I just wanted to mention that Pastor Harris did talk to me about the exact thing. And so we are starting to have some of those discussions. You know, this is the time of year, I think, to start having those discussions about how do you do a enrollment push, so to speak. But I also want to, I want to reiterate that we're going to be putting this large packet together for y'all. So that way you will know the exact, in 2015 we were this, and now we're this, and this school is, so you can really know all the details of this entire discussion.
And I went in our area. There's an area that they go to Goldana and they go to Lakeview, that Ashland area. Right, there's a little area right there that's just spitting distance to Castor. And bottom line, we're not the only one having the problem. Red River is having the problem, and they're going further. So we just need to know, and we know some of it is goes way back. Many of us have nothing to do with it. But I still want to go and say to them that we have a good product. We just want you to sample it, or taste and see.
There you go.
That we are good. That's all.
And what if they all say they want a coffee shop?
And we got a coffee shop. Starbucks is up in there.
Inside school.
I'd like to add that we have great products out of Natchitoches Parish, and I do mean our former students. We need to pull some of those former students into this.
I like
Yes.
that.
We have, I had a little surgery Tuesday, and one of our former students was my nurse.
It could be, look what Natchitoches Parish
Yes.
produces.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Natchitoches grown. There you go.
Natchitoches, yeah, I like that too. Natchitoches grown.
Well, Reverend Harris, thank you for that insight. Do you want to form this in a motion and let us move forward, or is this?
Yeah, I think we need to move forward. I need, you being included, along with another person included, so that then we can get all of the board members to go forward and go ahead and plan your meetings,
I agree. And another thing that goes along with that, with the assessment, is almost like an exit interview.
Right.
When someone leaves a job, and we all know that sometimes that's not altogether 100% accurate, but we need to find out if they have left the parish.
And he has
What
that
are some of
ability- He has that ability, we talked about that.
What are some of those reasons? And we need to be reactive to those things.
I have a stack on my desk that will tell you the last 707 students who've left, where they went. Now, it doesn't say why on everything, but some of them it says, like, they went to Colorado. Well, I'm assuming their parents took them there. But other than that, I think that, again, we're compiling a massive document for y'all that I think is going to be pretty eye-opening in terms of data for y'all and really give context to everything. And my goal is to get that ready for y'all before these first meetings, so y'all
Right,
will
that would
have.
be much better.
Are we not able to pull those reports as when these counselors are doing drop?
Yes, ma'am. That's what I did. I just asked Ms. Theus this week. I said, hey, pull it's an entry exit. She just didn't do the entries. I said, just give me every exit for this school year. But she can go backwards even longer. But there's so much data. I'm trying to give y'all snapshots because I'll be honest, it's very interesting, but it can become overwhelming at a point, and we're kind of at that point right now with what I have, so.
Very time consuming too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But it's good stuff. I think you're gonna be really happy with it.
Reverend Harris, are we entertaining a motion from you on item C?
Yes.
Second.
To put together,
I'm sorry, I'll need a minute, because I need to know what this motion is, and I'll need to back out of the system to go in and create it.
you know, to put together a committee for the community, for the needs assessment, survey, and community town hall meeting.
I like the track of.
We can get, I know myself and Mr. Benefield.
Will this
President,
require a motion to add this item and then the vote?
I don't, it's on the agenda.
Okay.
And
But
we're
it wasn't-
discussing it.
It wasn't listed as a
A
voting.
voting
item.
item.
Listed as just a.
Oh,
but
well, we will need to add it as a voting agenda item then, yes, ma'am. So we're gonna have to back into this thing. Okay, Ms. Kanique, I know this is gonna be a little complicated. It takes a while to do this. So tell us what you need from us.
Well, I have another
Consider-
question,
Go ahead.
just out of curiosity. Why is this one needing a vote? The last committee that was put together did not require a vote.
Policy says president can create the committee.
so we just.
Okay, well, let's just leave it as a discussion item. We're moving forward with it anyway, so if that's okay with the pleasure of the board. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7D, discuss and consider changes to 2023 board meeting calendar. And we have 3 conflicts, as I see it on the information. March conflict. Do you want to go before March 7th and 9th, or do you want to go after?
Didn't we say in March that, the meeting is over at 12?
And we could make it back by 5.
Right.
By 5, so
Yeah,
It's not like you're leaving Baton Rouge, you're leaving Lake Charles.
Lake Charles is a little over 2 hours.
one in April, we'd have to, that's during the Easter holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the Easter break.
Which actually, in the content area, it says the meetings fall on April 2nd and 13th. That should actually be April 6th and 13th. So it's,
The
that's.
6th is the only one that falls out, right?
The 13th is the, the
13th.
13th is the
committee
week of,
meeting that falls during,
And I
Why don't we
apologize,
just
but
go to the 11th and 13th for that one, like the old schedule? the
but
Tuesday?
school's out that week, right? No, the previous week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I thought during committee y'all would put some dates together.
Yeah, I thought we'd
Thought
say,
we did too.
April would be the 11th and the 13th.
Yeah,
11th, 13th, okay.
11th and 13th, and then wasn't, October, we'd say 2nd and 5th.
Y'all did.
We knew that Lee wouldn't be able to get us the tax report or whatever.
Yeah, right.
That early,
Yeah.
because we'd have to go down to the 3rd week. of
You're right.
October.
Third and fifth, yeah.
3rd and 5th, probably.
Third.
Yeah,
I think 2nd and 5th, 3rd and 5th.
yeah, 3rd and 5th.
Did that need a vote?
that does need a vote. And we need to have a motion.
I move that we keep the March dates the same. April be moved to the 11th and 13th, and October to the 3rd and the 5th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Phelps, a second by Mr. Matoyer. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay.
Item 7E, discuss and consider addendum to 2022-2023 Natchitoches Parish School Board Pupil Progression Plan.
I'll offer.
Second.
Any discussion on this item, board members? We met in committee last week. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7F, consider adopting school board member training resolution for year, is that supposed to be 2023?
No,
2022.
I think that was, to recognize.
That was certificates, I'm sorry.
To
I'm sorry.
recognize the training that's already taken place.
We've already done that.
I'll offer.
I second.
Okay, offered by Mr. McTwire, second by Reverend Harris for this item. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Item 7G, discuss and consider Natchitoches Regional Medical Center Emergency Preparedness MOU.
This is a new item.
Yes.
Yes.
Do we need a motion before I can discuss it?
Yes.
Sure you do.
I move we accept it.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Danzy, a second by Ms. Barbara Page.
So this is a renewal. What this is the courtyard, which is is that a retirement home or
Assisted
Rehab.
assisted living?
Assisted living rehab.
By law, they have to have backups for their emergency preparedness if there's a hurricane or something of that nature. And we have had a long-standing relationship where we say that we will be, some of our schools and facilities will be that emergency shelter or evacuation. We have never obviously had to utilize this, but it is time for us to renew this with them.
Well, I did not know we had that.
1 year 1 year, because it's March, just 1 year.
Yes, sir, I believe so.
Says, yeah.
Yes, 23.
24th.
23 to 24, yeah.
Okay, any discussion further on this item? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Item 7H, discuss and consider approving superintendent contract proposal options.
I'll offer.
Second.
Offered by Mr. McTwire, second by Mr. Danzy. And first off, Mr. Danzy,
I'm sorry.
I just want to thank the committee for the work that they did. I know y'all had to meet a couple of times to pull this together, and we assembled people with differing points of view, and I trust that y'all are putting together a pretty good product.
We, well, these people were really good to work with, very, very good, and we had a very good discussion. We put 3 alternatives together, and the committee approved the alternative number 3, and I'll just explain it a little bit. That's the same raise that the teachers got. Also, we increased the travel allowance by $4,800. The sales tax check is estimated. We don't know what that's really going to be. It is variable. The performance issue criteria is if any one school improves, it'll be $1,000. But if any school improvement goes up 1 grade, it'll be $2,000, which that number 5,000 is just a total estimate on my part. I mean, it has no validity whatsoever. I mean, I hope it's all 14 schools. But now this cannot be combined. It's either one or the other. It can't be, doesn't accumulate per school. So it's either, and the ones that are negative do not affect the others. It's individual schools.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Would you explain again what the 1,000 is and what the 2,000 is?
The 1,000 is improvement in school SPSs, which is school performance score.
One school.
Any school. Any school.
We have 14 schools.
Yeah. And the other one, the $2,000 is if they go up a grade from a D to a C, it's $2,000.
And that's each school that does
That can be each school.
That applies like it.
Now, it can't be doubled. If you get one, you don't get the other.
You don't double dip.
You don't double dip.
Okay, so if one school went up 4 grades, that's.
No, it won't go, that won't happen. That won't happen. I tell you.
It won't be each letter grade if it's a, this school jump 2 letter grade, it's still just the $2,000.
It's just $2,000.
Still just the $2,000.
Yeah. It's not,
From a D to a A, it's still just $2,000.
So, which I'm saying, I'd be wonderful for it to happen, but it probably won't happen.
Well, and Mr. Dansey, I,
That we might even discuss maybe giving them a little something else.
I do want to say, that I appreciate the philosophy behind this because number one, the percentage is the same as teachers, which I think is
Right.
what it should.
Right.
It shouldn't be more than their percentage. But then I also like we're embarking on performance pay. I like, if you look at the total, that's the smaller total, but I believe that's important because it's only based on the effort I put in, which is what we're saying to our teachers. So I appreciate that ethos behind that, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I move we accept alternative 3 as the committee approved.
I'll offer.
Oh, you
Wait,
can offer it, Reverend Harris.
Wait.
I'm
We
sorry,
already
there's
have a
already
motion on the
motion
floor.
and a second on the table.
Oh, it's all right.
Oh, we did.
Mr. Matuire
Yeah, we did. We already
voted
had it.
and Mr. Danzy
Yeah.
seconded.
Second.
I was just
Yeah,
trying to
we
make
did.
sure it's done.
We trying to do it twice.
Yeah, we are double dipping now. Okay, any further discussion on this item? Ms. Revels, can we have a roll call vote?
Mr. Danzy?
Yes.
Mr. Matuire?
Yes.
Mr. Benefield?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. McGaskey?
Yes.
Ms. Palmer?
Yes.
Ms. Phelps?
Yes.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Fredo?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholson?
Yes.
And Ms. Page?
Yes.
Motion passed.
That concludes executive. Thank for all the help, because it sure makes it easier to work with.
Board members, thank you for all your extra work that we're doing. We've got a lot of things spinning. Reverend Harris wants to get these needs assessments up and running. We've got to get this policy team up and running. We're behind the curve on it. And Dr. Pope's going to help us get some help in here. Ms. Harvey's expressed interest in being on the policy team. Ms. Page, of course, Ms. Tankia, and Ms. Dot, and Ms. Phelps. And as soon as we get those dates lined out, we're going to have to be accommodating as possible with these folks, okay? Let's get that going.
I'd like to reiterate the Black History programs. We all see where there are those who are having Black History programs. And I'm so elated that I'll be down at Fairview on the 16th having a Black History program.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Harris. I was going to actually let the superintendent discuss those but you got it? That's good.
No.
We have it?
You go ahead. You can go
No,
ahead.
you said it best, but I do want to reiterate something you said earlier, and that is, I would be remiss, although I'm not married to a counselor, it is important to note what they do because at any level, they're important, but you can talk about high school level, they're scheduling 1,100 students. There's so many variables, it's crazy. And then you talk about the lower level counselors dealing with the needs of young children and all that. So just want to reiterate how they are one of the unsung heroes of our district, and they don't get enough credit, but we want to give them as much as we can right now in terms of what they do.
Vital to the
One more thing, you've got a folder for LSBA. Let's hang on to it, make sure we got all our paperwork. Anyone that has any questions for Ms. Kanika, please speak up. This is, of course, when we get our continuing education points and the education that we need to continue to do our due diligence for the people of Natchitoches Parish.
When is the trip?
7th through the 9th.
Of March? So what's in April? Why we change dates for April?
Spring break.
Spring
Easter
break,
break.
Easter break.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not going to.
and it's all up to you.
Mr. Benefield,
Sir.
I have a question. So you've talked about the policy committee and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Where are we at on the two-fight policy deal?
Well, the superintendent has asked we were going to address that tonight, but he has asked that we hold off on that because he's got some other people weighing in with some additional information that may influence what we think about.
Right, okay.
And so that's where we are.
And so, to that point, Mr. Benefield, I would like, we have several principals. We also have Miss Anita, myself, but at the pleasure of the president, if we could have a few board members as a small committee to be a part of that as well over the next month.
I would agree to be on that.
What committee is that?
No, that's fine. That's a great idea. Anyone that would like to volunteer, speak up. Ms. Dot, Ms. Fradu, Ms. Page, that's great, and Mr. Nicholson.
Please be
Harris.
careful not to have a quorum.
We already
at
have, we got a quorum now. We got a
If you do,
quorum.
you just advertise it, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
Ms.
Where will it be held?
Well, we just need, me and Ms. Kanika will speak tomorrow, maybe.
She's
She's still talking to me tomorrow. But, we'll speak tomorrow and we'll try to reach out to y'all and get a date that's good for everyone and a time that's good for everyone.
So, Ms. Dot, you said you wanted in?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Ms. Page, Reverend
You
Harris.
did say yes.
Mike,
I did.
Micah Nicholson.
I got it. And, Reverend Harris?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
Chad.
I got him. He, Mr. Nicholson wasn't leaning forward, so I actually.
So that's
Mr.
five.
McGuire, is there unfinished
six?
business here on the bottom?
was
Yeah,
five.
you leave it too early, so I would just wait till about doing now.
Motion to adjourn, all in favor?
3-hour meeting.
Aye.
Oh, girl,
Last,
Oh, I'm starving right now.
last Thursday.
Yeah, I gotta get something to eat.
Me too.